Here we go again. Back to work, back to work. Another great day comes to an end. Hope you guys had a fantastic Wednesday trading session, but we're only as good as our next trade, right? Let's get ready for Thursday. It's Wednesday evening. It's the 20th day of April, 2022. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Now, if you're watching for the first time tonight, it's great to have you with me. My job tonight is to help us find the best trades, setting up for Thursday's trading session. And I got a fantastic video for you guys. The charts are all ready in the background. As you can see, we got the S&P, all the Nasdaq's ready, and all the crude oil, the black gold, the Texas tea is locked and loaded. Got a bunch of great trades setting up for tomorrow. Got some slingshot reversals, some breakout pullbacks, got maybe a spike in channel here on the Nasdaq. Well, I'll tell you, I love being a trader, but days like tomorrow are looking like really nice setups here for us tomorrow morning in our trade room. I'm going to cover all my favorite trades in tonight's video. That way you have a roadmap to make some money tomorrow. And you know me, I'm going to talk about some stuff to avoid, some traps to stay out of, that we can keep all that money you make with all the good trades tomorrow. Of course, whether you're trading on your own, you're trading with us tomorrow in our trade room. A lot we're going to cover here tonight on this video. Before we jump in and get this party going, as always, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. I publish all the good stuff right on this video, all my best trade ideas on this video every evening. So make sure you subscribe and set those notifications. Hit that little bell icon. That way you don't miss tomorrow night's video. Also, any questions, drop those questions in the comment section. I would love to answer any questions you might have, so don't be shy with the questions in the comments section. And if you guys enjoy the video as much as I enjoy making it, if you tune in every evening to get that mind right and get those charts right, hit that like button for me. Appreciate you guys supporting this YouTube channel. But enough of the intro though, right? Thursday is not going to trade itself. There are some really nice trades setting up here for Thursday's trading session. Well, I'll tell you, where do we begin? Got a pair of potential slingshot reversals right now. The S&P has a range, looking at a possible slingshot reversal going higher. Oil has a range, nice slingshot reversal going higher here. Really like the buy side on both the S&P and the crude oil. I will obviously talk about selling off these highs as well. We'll make sure we cover both sides of the market because I definitely will not back down from selling the tops, but we definitely want to make sure we have a game plan on that. And I'll tell you, right in the middle of the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is probably the hardest one of the group tonight. The S&P and the crude oil are pretty straightforward. It looks like the Nasdaq might be trying to pick our pockets tomorrow. You know, we had some earnings coming out today, last night. So Nasdaq got a little beat up by Netflix. It looks like the Nasdaq has a spike in channel, but there's something fishy going on in the Nasdaq. There's a couple things that don't make sense, and oftentimes it's what we don't get that is the most important clue to make the money the following day. So I'm going to talk about why I think the Nasdaq is one of the most interesting markets for traders tomorrow. But again, all across all three of these markets, really love the setups we're seeing for Thursday. Now, speaking of Thursday, though, let's get right into it here. We've got some big news coming tomorrow. Not just big news, but we got J Powell, right? Or as we call him, Dr. Doom around our trade room, right? We got some big news tomorrow. We get the jobless claims and the Philly Fed tomorrow. The jobless claims is nothing. Nobody cares about the jobless claims. It's all about that Philly Fed manufacturing index. Obviously, inflation is on everyone's mind right now. The Philly Fed manufacturing index will be a very good signal as far as the strength of the manufacturing sector here in the U.S. Well, I'll tell you, we've been talking about, has inflation affected things? We saw a very strong home sales number today, a very strong housing starts number on Tuesday. So we haven't seen any signs of inflation that are slowing down the housing market, slowing down retail sales. We are definitely watching for those first couple signs of the cracks right in the foundation of this stuff. Will we get it tomorrow? That definitely has potential to really make these markets move tomorrow. So definitely don't hit that snooze button too many times tomorrow morning. You won't want to be late to our trade room at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then, of course, we go down to Jerome Powell, right? He is the head of the Federal Reserve Bank here in the U.S. And ironically, the irony is just incredible on this. Tomorrow, he actually speaks twice. He speaks at 11 o'clock, his conference speech, and again at 1 o'clock at a round table. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, can you guess what the topic of the speech is going to be? inflation and how it affects inner cities. It kind of reminds me of the arsonist, who shows up with a fire hose to help put the fire out. Boy, what happened to this place? The irony is just incredible. You got to love these guys at the Fed. They have no problem looking you right in the eye and being like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why these prices are rising so much. Anyways, I'll keep my opinions to myself. We got Jay Powell tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And obviously, we should all be paying attention to that as far as any sound bites that he says. And the sound bites are not going to be, everyone knows inflation's high. What we want to hear from him tomorrow is, will he tip his hat as far as when the next rate hike comes? We've heard about 3 or 4 different Fed speakers this week that have said expect a 0.5% rate hike, twice more this year. And so we'll see if Jay Powell confirms that or tips his hat a little bit to when those will be. Remember, we're still kind of anticipating a surprise rate hike at some point in the next few weeks because the Fed they don't have many more options here. Only a few more meetings the rest of the year here this year. So that is definitely something that we are watching here closely for tomorrow. And keep in mind too, whenever we have the head of the Fed speaking, this is a major situation. So just remember, if things start to slow down 10:30, 10:45 into 11 o'clock, be aware. Remember, trading is like riding a bicycle. It's much easier when it's moving. So after 10:30 tomorrow morning, obviously if things are moving still, we'll keep trading. But if things are slow, we know what they're waiting on. Might be better off rather than forcing trades in a slow, sleepy market ahead of Jerome Powell. Might be better off to save those bullets, save that cash for a little bit later on in the session when we start getting some more personality going on that as well. So keep that in mind. Remember, trading is like riding a bicycle. It's so much easier when it's moving. And then we get some more inflation numbers coming on Friday, but I'll save that stuff for tomorrow night's video. So again, don't be late tomorrow, especially the trade room. We got manufacturing number at 8:30, and then of course Jay Powell at 11 o'clock talking about talking about inflation. I found that to be incredibly funny. Anyways, S&P's ready, Nasdaq is ready, crude oil is ready. Now guys, let's get right to it. Whether you trade one of these markets, a great place to start your trading career, or you trade all of these markets like we do in our trade room. I'm going to go over each of my favorite trades on each one of these charts here tonight. You're going to learn something new throughout the entire video. I'll provide different trade variations, different setup variations, different lessons, different money-making opportunities throughout the entire video. And you know me, I try to wrap it all together, and I usually save the best stuff towards the end of these videos, so I'll give you a reason to stick around all the way to the end, all right? So make sure you hunker down here. We're going to cover all the trades here tonight as we go throughout the rest of this video. Let's jump into the S&P first. We'll go S&P, Nasdaq, and we'll finish up on the crude oil here this evening. What's the most important factor affecting this Emini market right now? It is this bull market into a trading range. And we have a very classic scenario, and we have one of these on oil too, rotating off of that low. We have the buyers buying the dip below trading range, and now we're expecting that pendulum swing, to swing going higher. All things equal, assuming nothing new happens here overnight, the buyers are looking for that rotation as we go higher. That rotation has potential to become a breakout, and those buyers, of course, be hunting for some levels up overhead around that 45.15 area here as well. That is the most important factor that we have here on the S&P. Bull market into a trading range. We get below the range. The bears try and fail, and now we anticipate that rotation going higher here. So where would the buyers like to be buying on this? The buyers hold all the chips. They have all the options. Well, not all the options. There's plenty of options that are out there for the bears, but the good options right now, the easy money, is definitely the buyers. The buyers want to buy pullbacks. The buyers want to buy a breakout as we go higher. The buyers, because obviously this is a very strong move down here, the buyers would love to buy a double bottom reversal, right? And that could happen here, that can happen here. I actually really like this area down around that 44.35 area. Because if you recall last night's video, we talked about how this should have pendulum swing down. And really, think about how many buyers were probably waiting for that option down here to buy into it, and they never really got it. So I really like this area as well. I think this whole area down here is a great place for buyers to look. How about sellers? Where would the bears want to get in? I'll tell you right now, this will be a very difficult place to sell short. It's not impossible, but we'll talk about how to sell short off the high here. The bears, of course, want to sell above that range because, ranges act like magnets, don't they? So we'll look for resistance areas above the range. Bears would love to short this thing back down. And then let's not forget, there is this big wide open space down here. So if for some, and again, all things equal here, if something happens overnight, if the earnings report comes out tomorrow, Jerome Powell throws a grenade into the market, if we can get below this area and push through, bears have a lot of open space down there. And remember, tomorrow's a Thursday. Okay, remember, after we get into Thursday and Friday, last week's closing prices become magnets. They become big psychological levels, and there's a big range down there as well. That seems to be a pretty big ask for the bears right now. But, hey, tomorrow is a wide open day, and with Jerome Powell speaking, anything is possible. All right, let's talk about some breakouts going higher here. And there are going to be a couple different options on this. Again, oil is quite similar to this as well. So we'll do a couple on the S&P. We'll do some variations on the crude oil. That way we're not kind of overlapping so much here. And keep the video going. As we go higher here, right? As we go higher here, there are really three different types of breakouts that you could easily look for here. I'll cover two of them here right now in the S&P. I'll save one more for later on in this video. One of them would be a pop up, hold the pullback, buyers come in and jump off the moving average. We call these 1, 2, 3 breakout patterns. They're very, very simple patterns. Didn't do it here. Didn't do it there. Didn't do it there. Will they do it here? Remember, very important. It doesn't matter how strong that first leg is. Okay? That first leg always looks strong. It always looks strong, right? Don't fall for that first leg. It's the second leg that has to jump. In this particular setup, in this particular breakout, the second leg has to hold and they have to go. Now, when they get that 1, 2, 3 breakout, now what I'll do is I'm going to find a trend line off those highs. I'm going to create a channel by bringing it down to that low. And what you want to do is I'm going to drill down tomorrow. We'll drill down to our faster time frame, and we're going to try to get underneath some of these prior swings. If I can get underneath some of those prior swings, now that opens up for just a bunch of different types of entry triggers. For example, a trap setup below a prior swing, a failure setup coming off of the moving average. As we go back above the EMA, the first pullback after a failure is money, and then into those strength moves as we go. Trap, failure, pullback, strength moves as we go. Now, I know a lot of you guys and gals have learned these setups. You've taken the free trading course on the website. You've learned all the rules. You know when to take them. You know when not to take them, right? You're doing it on your own right now on your own account. If you're one of the few people, though, that have not taken that free course, or if you're here for the first time right now, you're going to love that free class. I'll put a little link up here for you in the upper right-hand corner. Grab that link for our free trading course and learn those trade setups. If you're like me and you hate missing the best moves each day, or you're taking too many losses, or you're making too many mental mistakes, that little pop-up, that free trading course on our website will give you a full roadmap to follow. That way, if you're trying to transition into full-time trading, right, quit that job, that roadmap is exactly what's going to get you moving in the right direction. It'll go over all my favorite setups, the same stuff we use every day in our trade room. So grab that link up there, learn the setups, learn the rules. That way, the next time I say 1, 2, 3 breakout, you know exactly which entries we're looking for off the low of that channel. Now, speaking of which, if we get those entries, what's the target look like? What's the target look like on a 1, 2, 3 breakout, right? So we pop up, we hold the pullback, right? We jump up, and we grab that new channel. Where's the target to be? The target, remember, when it comes to a 1, 2, 3 breakout pattern, it's first leg and it's third leg. Okay? First leg, third leg. Okay? Don't get wrapped up in the middle leg. Okay, that first breakout leg, that becomes the measuring leg for that 1, 2, 3 breakout pattern. This is a must-learn setup, or really one of my favorites. And again, we get a pretty good idea of where the market wants to go. Here's one more. Okay, here's one more. And again, we're going to cover a few more breakouts here on the crude oil later in this video. Here's one more. Strong move up. Okay, now this one has to really pop. Okay, remember, a 1, 2, 3 breakout will go up, pull back, and pop. Okay, this one now has to really pop. Okay, so real strong move. Strong move, shallow pullback, higher high in price. Traps, baby. We call these 2-try breakouts or 2-try traps in certain situations. 2-try breakout, strong pop, right? Really got to be strong. Real strong pop, shallow pullback, higher high in price. Traps, right? And as I always say, traps, baby. We love that setup. One of my favorite setups in our trade room. I really can't think of a more reliable setup in a breakout. Strong move, quick shallow pullback, higher high in price, grab that trap. And again, think of the first leg and third leg are going to be your targets. All right. I got a few more breakout patterns we'll talk about here in a moment. Now, how do I sell off that high? As we go higher, what's the big problem up here? It's not location. There's always two things I ask. I always ask, okay, how's my location and how is my momentum? You know, those are the two most important questions when you're trading price action. How's my location? It's great. You know, we're at resistance, a range below us, but how momentum? Momentum's not that great. And so if momentum is really strong like this, what you're going to do is you have to assume the buyers they're going to fight this. They're going to try to buy that pullback. And so the only way that we can sell into this is if we can use those buyers against them, right? We have to use basically their stop losses as fuel because we don't have momentum on our side. Momentum is the best gift you can get for a day trade because it's like going with the river, with the current of, you know what I mean? It's like going with the stream of water. Okay, you go against momentum though, you got to let those buyers try a couple times, right? I always say try twice. Once they try twice now, that's my favorite number 2. Once they try twice, now think about where their stops are. Okay, now remember, we don't have any momentum on our side. So we have to get some catalyst here, and those stops are the catalyst. Once we see those buyers trying once, trying twice, then we can look for that nice signal, closing below the moving average. You're going to learn this stuff in that free trading course, and then look for that short back down. Now, your job is not over yet. Okay, this is where the fun starts. Now, as we go lower, now draw a new trend line off those lows, bring it up around that high, and you got it. You got it. Look for those prior swings, grab those traps, those failures, those pullbacks. Again, you'll learn those in the free course, right? So again, it's a 2-try failure because again, we need to rope in those buyers and use their stops as fuel. And then of course, we hit it off the first test of that channel. Where would the target be on that short? It's pretty easy. It's back down to retest this low. All the way back. Because remember, ranges love to rotate. They rotate back and forth. That's why it's so bullish as you rotate going higher. That's why it's not going to be easy to sell into that high. Now, what if we go lower here? First of all, don't forget, stay out of the middle, right? Stay out of the middle. What if we go lower here? Okay, now, what does momentum look like at that point now? Yeah, momentum is also going to be pretty bearish at this point. A strong move down. They try to retest that low. I think my biggest problem down here is I think if they can make a lower low here, or if they can take that low out here, they're going to try to get down in this area here. Yeah, I would be surprised if they just double bottomed off that low. You know, I would hope really they're going to get a little bit of a lower low here. And then from there, I'll tell you, this is what we should all be hoping for the buy side tomorrow, because this is where things could get really good. At this point now, we're sitting at those major lows. The bears try once, the bears try twice. Same idea here, because again, location's great, but a lot of momentum as we come down. You know what I'm saying? So let those bears, let them dig their own grave. This is not where professionals are selling. Pros are not going to sell down there, not because, again, we saw that area there, right? Again, this is where I would expect a lot of big money buyers are waiting down here. Let those bears try a couple times. Think about where their stops are, or as we say in the video classes, think about where their pain is and just push it right into their pain point, right? Buy right into those stop losses. I'd like to draw a little trend line off that low, right? Early entry off that trend line. We'll learn more about that later on in this video. And then, of course, as we go higher, remember, same thing. Now, this could be a huge run because obviously now find that channel, grab that first pullback. I'd be very confident on that pullback. That first test off that channel is a very reliable setup. And again, it could be any of our 4 entry patterns we talk about in that video course. Okay, and then as we're going higher, think about now this can slingshot higher, and now we can go into 1, 2, 3 breakout, right, up into that 2 try, you know what I mean? Like this is, like I said, this is a really nice sequence here as it rotates off of that low. Now, as we go lower, how do I sell it? Right? How do we sell it as we're going lower? Well, this is exactly where one of those breakout patterns comes in. I think we're going to have to get down into this area. We're going to have to hold that pullback, and the bears are going to have to blast right to that area. And if they can, then I will definitely go out, grab that new channel, and I will go out and look for that short off the high of that channel. And keep in mind, too, sometimes these channels are a lot steeper, right? A lot of times they're a lot steeper, so obviously I'm doing my best to illustrate right now, but be aware of that type of setup as we go lower. Just be very careful. Don't get fooled into chasing that move lower because the odds are we're going back up into that trading range. Where do the bears want to go, though? If this thing rolls over, J Powell tomorrow, if we end up going lower here and getting that channel, you know where they want to go. They want to head back around into this range. 4,400 is a big round number, but they want to get back to that last week's close. 43.89. That's the big carrot at the end of the stick there for the bears right now. So I'll tell you, very excited about the buy side here. Well, really either side. I don't care what side I trade, but it definitely looks like the buy side here has potential for a little more juicier at this point in the evening. How about some Nasdaq right now? All right. So Nasdaq is the one. Nasdaq's, like I said, Nasdaq, something's going on, right? Okay, what's the most important thing here on the Nasdaq tonight? It's a bear spiking channel. Okay, we basically see a big spike up. We saw a big pop, big move down, bear spike down into a channel. Now, spiking channels are really valuable patterns because they basically tell you that the smart money, the big money, are going to be looking for shorts up inside the base of that channel. Okay, this is kind of the battle zone of a spiking channel, right? This whole area up here, that's where we expect to see some more bears coming in. Okay. At the same time, too, we also know too that if they keep going lower, right, we've got a range down there acting as a magnet. But let's look at this a little bit bigger picture, though. Okay, we'll talk about kind of why I say this doesn't something's up, right? Something's up. I don't think it's going to be as easy as selling off that area. Not to mention there's a rising support trend line right here, which we'll talk about here in a moment. First things first. Okay, first things first. So if you look left here, remember we had a range yesterday evening, 24 hours ago in last night's video. And you see what's going on here? The amount we go above the range, the amount we go below the range. Yeah, that could be a coincidence. Okay? That could definitely be a coincidence. Sometimes things just line up and we put too much emphasis on it as human beings. Our minds play tricks on us. That could be a coincidence. But here's what I really don't like about the bear side right now. So we had this big bull run up yesterday, right? Big range down here. That range is a huge magnet. Remember I said earlier, it's what didn't happen that is the most important thing. What did we talk about last night? We talked about how as it rotates off the high, you're almost always going to see bears come in and pummel this thing. Why didn't that happen? That's what doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense to me is how we can have that big run up. We could be sitting at this major, look at this range we had last week. Right? And you're telling me you're going to go up and roll and you're not going to just collapse back down again, right? Look what happened back here. Big collapse back down. What is up with this? It just doesn't add up. If the buyers failed that strong off the high, this would have collapsed. We would be right back down around that prior week close, right? That's exactly where if the bears really had control of this, if they had their strength behind them, this thing will be back a lot lower right now. This spike in channel almost feels like one big bull flag. You know what I mean? It's a big bull run up in this sleepy, choppy, grindy channel. And remember, this whole area back here, that is a prior top as well. So I'll tell you right now, it's difficult to want to sell this market. Let's put it that way. It's very difficult to want to sell this market. What I think is a great trade right now is to either look for, for example, a lot like on the S&P, where would the buyers want to get in? The buyers would love to see a double bottom bounce, right? That would be a great trade for the long side right now. I think buyers can also use this trend line to their advantage. If they do sell into it, buying off that trend line, I really like that trade. And I also think, too, we have potential for a reversal for a run back up to retest those highs here. So that's kind of where my head's at for the buyers here right now. For the sellers have a very hard time right now. Again, because of what I just talked about, but this trend line coming up. This trend line is a big, big problem. It's not. What it basically means is if I want to sell this area, right, I have that trend line staring me right in the face here right now. And oftentimes trend lines do not make it easy to get that short, to sell high, because it simply isn't a straight line back down to retest those lows. I think the best option right now for the bears is to see a breakdown. And the big reason for that is just because we have open space below us that didn't get taken, right? Didn't vacuum like we thought it would this afternoon. So again, buyers have, I think, more options right now, even though the bears, I think technically speaking right now, you can see the bears definitely have control of this market. Every time we pulled back above the moving average, the buyers couldn't hold it. The bears continue to hold it below the moving average. So it's definitely a bear market. But I think there's money to be made on the buy side here, along the short side. Okay, as we go higher, as we go lower. Now, as we go higher here, how would I sell this first of all? It's a bear market. How would I sell it? Well, the key is this trend line. Okay, now whenever we have concern about selling too close to an area of support, this is exactly where a trap setup comes in. Okay, traps are your bread and butter whenever you're trying to avoid either buying high or selling too low. This, by definition, because there's a rising support trend line, would kind of be like selling too low. You're selling too close to an area where there's support. So in this situation, we have to get the buyers to try at least once to put some sort of swing in there, and then we're going to get that trap above that high. Okay, that's going to be the way to sell off the sell zone off this spike and channel. Another way to do it would be, let's say we do get up into this area, we make a strong run down, and we can grab that trend line on the other side. This is going to be tight, right? Because the only way I can sell that kind of breakout pullback or breakout pullback off that trend line is if this low doesn't retest this low. Right? So if it goes up and then back down and then retest that low, oh, no, right? This is a very dangerous trade now. Why? Because it's already mission accomplished. They already got their retest. It makes perfect sense with a bear spike and channel for the price to pop up and want to retest that low. That's what sellers want. Sellers want to sell high and retest those lows. That's what they do. That's their job. But if we retest that low and then we pull back, I definitely don't want that trade anymore. I'd rather be a buyer at that point, okay? Just be aware of that little trappery we may see there on the Nasdaq. So again, as we go higher, 1, 2, and trap, that's the money trade you want in the short, and then up or under and over, right? That kind of breakout pullback off of that low. I also think, too, a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Bunch of different reversal patterns we can use on this. Obviously, a 1 pullback, 2 and jump off that moving average. That's going to be a great trade going higher. Again, get underneath some prior swings, get underneath the moving average. That'll make it easy to trap in those bears and punch it going higher. Again, first leg, third leg, right? We're grabbing that first test off the low of that channel. Or a 2-try trap. This is a great spot for a 2-try trap because all that open space. So strong move up, right? And you'll know it right away. Strong move up, go right that 14,140 area. Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price. That trap is a money trade. That's a money trade right there. And if you can find a little hidden channel there, oh my goodness, almost a bulletproof, almost guaranteed winner. Okay, again, very high percentage trade there if we can get that pop going higher. I would also keep in mind for a short squeeze. Okay, and a short squeeze, because obviously sellers could be trapped short right now. The classic giveaway of a short squeeze is a pop and grind, which means we kind of pop up and we start to grind. That is kind of the quintessential short squeeze, right? Or short covering rally, because the reason why it grinds like this is because all the bears are getting out. You know what I mean? Those are not buyers buying those shallow pullbacks. Those are bears going, oh, crap, get me out, right? Those are bears getting out. That allows the market to keep fluttering higher. These are really good patterns, because now you can draw a nice tight trend line off those highs. Okay, do not make the mistake and go wide like this. Okay, if this thing pulls back to this, we're not buying this anymore. Okay, if it goes all the way up like that and pulls back, we're going to buy that one. Okay, but what we want to do is as we go higher, draw that trend line nice and tight, find that hidden channel, and again, I always go right in and find those traps. Look left, find those prior swings. This is a 3,000 tick chart. We're not going to trap a 3,000 tick chart. We'll trap a much faster time frame in the trade room. I want to get underneath one of those prior swings, though. That's where the money is, and then grab those trap, those failure, those pullback into strength moves. Again, first leg, third leg. We got a pretty good idea of where the market wants to go at that point here. Okay, so I got some really nice setups here. We're tracking if this market goes higher here, and I almost forgot, right? If we go lower here, this trend line. So imagine now we end up going up, we end up pulling back now. This is a really nice opportunity here now for a 1-2 failure. Grab that first pullback and target a retest of that high. Okay, remember that trend line is great. So there's no reason why we couldn't sell that trap off the high, pick it up, take some profit at the trend line, let those bears foolishly sell into it. Again, we can sell the underbelly of that trend line in that situation, but you can't sell into it. Unfortunately, not in this situation, not with all the stuff we talked about, right? A la look left, right? So we know that if we can get those bears to get trapped in a little bit, we can then use those stop losses as fuel, and we can buy into those stops with a failure. And one of the easiest follow-up trades after those stops get hit is to grab that first pullback. I'm a very big fan of that failure into first pullback and then back up to snap those highs. And then this may lead into a 1, 2, 3 breakout, find that new channel. You know what I mean? Then that may trigger the first domino into that big reversal going higher here. Now, as we go lower, I think the Nasdaq is probably the hardest market for the bears to go lower. And well, maybe not. I think oil and Nasdaq might be very similar in that sense, where the biggest challenge we have right now in the Nasdaq is we have to get through this area, and then we have to hold, right? Then we got to hold. Okay, you'll see on the oil why I say the oil might have the crown for being the most difficult to short right now. And again, doesn't mean it can't happen. It just means for what we have right now, it doesn't look very easy. So I want to get down, take out that low. Remember, in this area, 1, 2. Remember this in this situation. Same thing we talked about on the S&P. If we make it back down to retest that low. And I think there's also, I try to keep this chart as simple as possible. There's definitely kind of a range right there as well. So if we do end up retesting that low here, that range, I didn't want to overcomplicate the chart here tonight because I don't think that's the most important clue on this chart. But I think that will also be kind of a key reason why I like that double bottom bounce off the low here. Now remember, it's still very bearish at this point, so we do want to let those bears kind of dig their own grave, if you will, right? Let them try twice down here. Once they show their cards and they present where their stops are, now we can buy right into those stop losses. And again, remember, your job is not done at that point. Find that new channel, drill it on down, and hit that first test. Okay, 2 try failure off that low, and then again, whichever one of the entry setups we get, you'll learn that stuff, right? The traps, the failures, you'll learn those entries in that free trading course. Where would this be going now? Boy, oh boy, wouldn't that be a nice little reversal off of that low? Because now, obviously, this could turn into a pop and grind, find that new channel. One thing about me is that I almost never reuse channels. You know what I mean? I very rarely will I ever reuse a channel twice. You know what I mean? I grab the first test off that channel, and then as the market's punching higher, I'm finding a new channel drawing it off those highs. You know what I'm saying? Right? We don't, the first test is so valuable, at least from my eyes, that I'm constantly, they're kind of like single use channels, find the new channel, hit the first test, find the new channel, hit the first test. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know in the comments section if you're liking the video right now, and I hope by now you hit the like button or subscribed, because definitely we're definitely going to keep this good stuff coming every day this week here. Now, as we go lower, again, take out that low, hold that pullback, and blast. If they can show me they can blast there, good. We'll find that new hidden channel. First test is the best test. And I would say just be aware. This is obviously this is a major low. Okay, I've marked it there for a reason. That's a major low. So what do you think? Is it possible for a 1, 2, 3 breakdown? We find that channel. We grab our shorts off that channel. The first leg and third leg take us down into an area of support, and then we get a 1, 2 failure and back up again. Oh, hell yeah. I would love that. That would be great, right? That would be perfect. So we can make money on the way down. And then once we run into those major lows, we rope in those bears, right? The people who don't know how to read a chart, the ones that chase those moves, well, like I used to do when I was a rookie. I used to always just sell right into support and then realize, after I was getting stopped out, that was on the wrong side of it. So I like that bounce off that low as well. We can easily play both sides of these markets, but pick your spots wisely, okay, as we're going. Nasdaq, again, why didn't those bears, why didn't this thing collapse? That to me is a really big red flag. The only other thing I can think of right now is they're trying to develop some sort of range here. You know what I mean? There might be some range developing down here. And if there is a range, by the way, right, if we do end up going sideways here in a trading range, what do? What do you do in a range, in a bear market into a trading range? You find levels of resistance above. You wait for the pop up. You wait for the buyers to come in. Let them try to get long, and you hit them back into that trading range. Okay, what do you do below? You wait for the price to go lower. And remember, hold on. We're bearish in this environment, right? Okay, so why is that important? Because now it's a 2-try failure. Does that make sense? Okay, I can get aggressive with that short, again, if they hold this in a range, right? So if we spend the next, 6-7 hours going sideways in that range, we can then start looking for those buyer failures at resistance areas above the trading range. We can also look for 2-try failures using that range magnet. Remember, ranges are magnets. So you find levels of support below, you find levels of resistance above, you buy low, you sell high. And then we look for a 1, 2, 3 breakout, a 2-try breakout, a pop and grind breakout. You know what I mean? That could easily be a breakout, 1, 2, 3 breakout going higher. You know what I'm saying? So you can easily put those breakout patterns on top of the ranges. Just make sure you get the proper breakout pattern. All right, we'll do more of the advanced stuff. This is a little more advanced than I like to get here on this stuff. But obviously, we'll do more advanced stuff tomorrow morning in our trade room. Over to oil, wrapping things up here on oil. Now, quite the interesting chart today on oil. Oil, of course, was an inventory day today on the oil. And the most important thing we have right now, this is very similar in context to the S&P. It is and it isn't. The S&P, you'll notice, if you recall, the S&P is a bullish market into a trading range, which really puts a lot of emphasis on this kind of slingshot breakout, going higher here. The crude oil is definitely not bullish before the range, right? It's a bear market into that trading range, bear market into a range. So that would be one kind of key difference, I guess you would say here on the crude oil to the S&P. But everything else is pretty similar in the sense that we go lower. Whenever you have this much strength in one direction, it's very strange to see the market completely V-bottom and literally take back almost every single penny of that move. To me, that really puts a lot of the emphasis now on the buy side, right? Because with all that strength going lower after the inventory report today, why on earth didn't these bears, why weren't they able, because look at this channel, why weren't they able, they didn't do anything. It was like it wasn't even there. Even had this low right there, right? And then on top of that, look, on top of that, there's this obvious bigger channel right here. And you can see as it comes lower, why are we not hitting it right here? You know, you can see the bears tried to sell into it and they got stopped out. So this really just doesn't look like it was the bears' afternoon. You know what I mean? It makes a lot of sense. They came back to tap that 100. You know, again, we're obviously bearish right now. You know, we're definitely bearish. We're not bullish. You know, this isn't a bull market. But this little kind of, you know, jawbone, knee-jerk, V-bottom, whatever the heck term you want to give it, just really gives, again, a lot like S&P, it gives them that fuel to really make that run. And think of it this way, too. This is your trading range from today. If we go below the range, if this thing snaps back up, any guesses where that thing's going? Any guesses where the pendulum swing takes you? Ready? Oh, it's last week's close. Now, why would that? Well, because again, tomorrow's a Thursday, Friday. So we start to keep an eye on these prior week closes. So very interesting, oil. Touche. I like that pendulum swing all the way up at last week's close. Now, I'm not making a call right now to everybody get long because again we're still pretty bearish here overall. But very interesting chart here tonight on the crude oil. You know, a lot like the Nasdaq where the bears had really everything they needed there and they didn't do anything with it. So where would the buyers want to buy? Where would the sellers want to sell here? The buyers again I think have more options right now. I like the idea of buying this reversal going higher. I also really like the idea of buying that double bottom bounce. I like that idea as well off of that big low. It would make perfect sense. You know, big strong move down, bears want to retest the low, they take their profit and we get that nice hard bounce back up into that trading range. I think those are some options here for the buyers. How about the sellers right now? The sellers again have a difficult time. They do. This is a major low from yesterday. And so I really think probably well, let's put it this way. If we end up going higher here right now, this is no bueno for the bears, right? I'm not going to want to step in front of that freight train for the sellers up there. You know, that will be a very difficult spot to sell short. A lot like the S&P. You know, when it rotates like that, you get a big round number. It would make perfect sense to go from 100 to 105. Remember, big round, it's kind of the big round numbers. You know what I mean? 100, 105, 110, 115, or 100 to 95, 96 down there's the next range. So we have to kind of think about those big round numbers with this. The bears also, I think you'll notice the numbers here, if they try once, if they try twice, I think this is probably the best possible short for the bears right now. You know, and this is nothing more than using those two tries, right? We go up, the buyers once, the buyers twice, short back down. You know, it's a classic strong bear market, deep pullback, right? Buyers are coming in, they're going, okay, we're reversing, try it, no, try it again, shoot, we're wrong, and they pummels back down to that low, right? It's that type of two-try failure that I could easily see setting up here in the overnight. And then again, I think the hardest part about this is if we go lower, I don't want to sell down here. I don't want to sell, you know what I mean? We have to get through this area and then all of a sudden we kind of back ourselves into a corner here. So we really have to get down here and hold this and really go, for this to really be worth our while to sell down there. So we're definitely bearish, but they're making it pretty difficult for us right now to want to be a seller. Let's talk about if the market goes lower here first. Okay, I talked about before, but 2 seconds ago, 1, 2. Now, what you want to remember about this pattern setup is usually the best trend line is coming off of these lows. Okay, that low and then up around that big high. Okay, this is basically a 1 try, 2 try, and that failure back down again. Target is back to retest the low. Now, sometimes we don't get that. Okay, sometimes what happens is it does this. So pay real close attention to this real quickly here. If the market runs lower, if the market runs lower and I have to draw it like this, what's my problem right now? I'm selling too low. My risk-reward ratio down here stinks. So what's the best pattern setup to avoid selling too low? We just talked about this. What is it? It's a trap. Okay, so the trick on this is, because this happens a lot, where you'll go up and it'll come crashing back down. I don't want to be too aggressive selling it down here. What I want to do is if the market does start to crash, if it starts to really go lower here, now that trap is your best friend. That trap right there, okay, or whatever we get. That trap now is your best friend. And ideally, you do want it to come off some sort of hidden channel here. Okay, what I don't want you to get trapped though doing is I don't want you to make that mistake that I made a lot when I was kind of learning this. As it drops like this, you go, oh, Joe said draw a channel. Okay, here you go. There's my 2 tries right there. Isn't that right? There's one. No. Different context now, right? It's different situation now. Okay, at that point, you have to grab that trap. Right? You've got to go in and get that trap. You know they want to go. They want to retest that low. Okay, they want to retest that low. Remember, that's what bears do. That's their job. They sell high and they retest lows. Okay, that trap high right there, still great trade. Just remember though, if it really collapses, the ideal is to get up, buyers once, buyers twice. Nice, almost a little flat trend line there. A little flat channel there. That's the better trade, because now you have all of that reward for just a little tiny bit of risk. That's the type of risk reward we want to filter our trades with. Okay, then you know what I'm going to do over here. If we can get back down to these lows, now it could be party time. It could be party time for the bulls, right? Bears try once, bears try twice. Why are we selling into major lows, right? Wrong place to be selling. Stops are sitting right here now. And again, this is exactly where we can look for that 2-try failure, get that new channel, okay, coming in off those highs, find that trap, and then hit it going, right? Hit it going higher. 2-try failure. And I say trap, but it could be a trap, failure, pullback, strength move. Where do we think we're going at this point? Oh, you know where we're going. We're going back to that high of the range. We're going up to this trend line up here. We're probably going to try to make a run for that 105. And this is exactly where you can combine that 2-try along with a 1, 2, 3 reversal. You can start to put together all these pieces together, or it runs and it pop and grind. You know what I'm saying? This is where it all comes together right here. You can start to look for those, right? Those again, we've talked about these many times. You can apply those as we come off that low because you know where it wants to go now. It wants to get back up to rotate back to those highs here. Okay, be very careful as we go lower. Make sure they hold that pullback and blast. Remember, it does not matter how strong the first leg down is. It does not matter. Okay, they have to hold that pullback. So strong leg down is a great start, but can you hold it and blow through that area? Now it's on. Now we find that new channel, and now we can get aggressive and sell that first test. Right? First leg, third leg. Got a pretty good idea of where the market wants to go at that point. It'll want to make its way down to that 95, 96 area, and we'll see what we get as far as going forward there. As we go higher here, we've talked a lot about these trades already. If the market does rip higher, it's that 1, 2, 3 breakout. It's that pop and grind, which I think is very, very likely in this scenario because of that short squeeze aspect, right? It could easily be a 2-try trap. Okay, and if we do want to sell off that high, really the only way to sell short off this would be to get up, let that thing double top, and then 1, 2 short back down. We just talked about this in the trade room, right? When you're rotating off the low of that range like this, yes, this is a good place to sell, but momentum is the dagger. Momentum is very difficult. So let those buyers buy that pullback. They're gonna try to buy that pullback. They will. Let them retest the high. Okay, buyers, you got what you want. Now let's rope in some of those inexperienced traders that are foolishly buying those shallow pullbacks to the highs there, and let's use those stops as fuel. Right, hit that first channel, and back down we go. All right. So as you can see, there's if you know how to apply the setups, if you know how ranges work, there's no shortage of great trades setting up for tomorrow. Okay, what's going to happen here? Can the bears hold this? I'm very curious on oil and the Nasdaq. I think the Nasdaq's the one I'm probably most curious here for tomorrow. Now, speaking of tomorrow, right? Tomorrow will be here before you know it. We've done a great job tonight at planning our trades, and tomorrow we're going to trade our plan. Guys, our trade room is designed for new traders who want to learn and trade together. You know, if you're a new trader, you want a roadmap, a good group to follow along with. It's great for a new trader. Our trade room is also, as you can tell, we do a lot of advanced tactics as well. So if you've been trading for a while, you haven't been able to put the pieces together, you'll be a great fit for our trade room. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to get together, right? We'll trade it all together. We prep tonight, got our stuff ready for tonight, and we're ready to kick some butt tomorrow morning. Don't forget, any questions, drop those questions for me in the comment section below. I'm always here to help with the comments. Don't be afraid to call the office. I know I talk pretty quickly on these videos, but I will slow it down. We'll make sure you have all the pieces put together so you're ready for trading every day with us at the opening bell. And hope you liked the video tonight. You know, if you're watching for the first time tonight, it's great to have you with me here. I'm bringing the good stuff here every evening on this video newsletter, so make sure you subscribe, hit that like button if you enjoy it, and share this information with a friend. You know, one of the nice parts about day trading or trading overall is the well never goes dry. You know, I can share this all evening long. It doesn't hurt or help me whatsoever. So I really enjoy sharing the love, sharing the knowledge, and hope you benefit right along with us here on this video newsletter. Right, guys? So get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will hopefully see you tomorrow at the opening bell as a member in our trade room. We'll do it all together. If not, you better come back tomorrow night. We'll keep this party going and get ready for Friday. I'm out of here for now, guys. My name is Joseph, by the way. Be well. Be nice to each other. And be here next time, will you? Adios, amigos. Bye for now.